What's up, YouTube? It's RJ from Harbuck Media here today with another video. Today we are discussing, should you start a podcast? Now, before we get into the content, if you're not a subscriber, I would like to encourage you to smash that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you're notified of all of our upcoming videos. If you like the video today, give us a like. If you have any comments, be sure to leave them down in the comment section. We would love the opportunity to interact with you in that way. We'll answer your question if we're able, and if it needs to be turned into a full-length video, we would love to do so and be able to start that conversation that way. All right, let's get started.
Oh, fire and water me, going down deep, sing, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, far beneath. Down to the river.
All right, so should you do a podcast? That is really going to depend upon the business that you're in, and then also just your desires. Do you want to do a podcast? You need to understand the amount of time that it takes, understand the consistency, understand the cost associated in the equipment. Those are all things that we're going to talk about today to help you decide whether or not you should start a podcast. But at the end of the day, it's going to be 100% up to you. Is a podcast something you can and want to do? So what is a podcast? Think of it like an internet radio station. You can accompany this with video, or you can choose to do audio only. It can be just you talking about topics that you love, or it can be something that you have multiple people, multiple hosts on, or it can even have guests on to have conversations. They can be from 10 minutes long to 3 hours long. It really is wide open to what do you want to accomplish. What is required to do a podcast? Obviously, you have to have a way to record audio. If you want to have video accompany your podcast, then you have to have a way to record video. Length and quality of your podcast desires will determine the quality of equipment that you need, whether or not you can record straight to your camera or to your computer. Things like this, all of these topics of what kind of equipment you should get, we have discussed, and you should check out those videos. What kind of equipment do I need to get started creating videos in 2022? So if you're going to do a podcast, you've identified, okay, I'd like to do a podcast. I'd like to talk for an hour and a half, and I want video to accompany. Well, if that's the case, you're going to need to record to your computer. Well, I guess technically you don't have to, but if you don't want to spend an arm and a leg on a camera that can record for an hour and a half, then you're going to record to your computer. So you need the ability to do that. If you have multiple guests on, then you either need to have a lens that will allow you to fit multiple people on the same frame, or you will need to have multiple cameras and the ability to switch between those multiple cameras live, or you can hire an editor and send them multiple camera feeds and audio feeds and have them edit all of those things. These are all things that you have to consider. Do you want to be live? Do you want to edit? Do you want to have multiple people on? Do you want to have video footage or only audio footage? All of that is going to determine what kind of equipment you need. And I know that's maybe not what you want to hear, but obviously the simple way of doing it is to do more of a short form and just one person. That may not be what you want to do. Maybe you want to have 3 hosts and you want to have that interaction, that camaraderie that comes across with having multiple people on there, and you want to be able to switch camera angles. That's totally fine. You can do that, but it's going to cost more. You're going to have multiple camera angles. You're going to have multiple mics. You're going to have a way to record multiple mics. All of this costs additional money. Now that you have the equipment, you've got your mic set up, you've got your camera set up, you've got your lighting, what next? Well, now you have to have a place to host that content. A lot of these podcasting platforms, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, these platforms are free to use, but you have to have a hosting software. You have to sign up with a software like Podbean. There's a lot of other ones out there. Just type in podcast hosting software. You have to pay someone to host that content, someone to store that audio content to, and then send that audio content to those podcasting platforms. And that costs money. Now, it could be, you could go the free option and maybe you can only host, a couple of episodes at a time and then it deletes the old episodes. If you're not open to that and you want to have a library of podcast episodes, then you're going to have to pay. And I think Podbean's like $10. Okay. So it's not a lot of money, but that's definitely something that you're going to have to consider. So you have to sign up with this platform. With this hosting software, it takes a little bit of time to, you have to record that first episode, you upload it to the hosting platform. And then once you've uploaded it to the hosting platform, it has to verify it with these other podcast platforms to make sure that, this is real. Hey, this is a real person. This isn't just some bot trying to use our service. This is a real person who's created content. And now we're going to host that content. And it can take, anywhere from a couple of weeks to even a month to verify all that information. So let's talk about video. Podbean is for audio only. It's not for video. Okay, so you've got your audio podcast that's being hosted through Podbean and being sent to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, for instance. But you've got video. What do you do with that? Well, you're going to host that to YouTube or maybe to Vimeo or some of these other video hosting platforms out there. YouTube, of course, is free. Services like Vimeo are paid for, but they don't have ads, whereas YouTube is free, but it does have ads. But you can also monetize on YouTube if you get popular. So pros and cons. You got to choose, where do you want to host this content? But something like Apple Podcast is audio only. You have to keep that in mind. So you're going to have to upload this content to Podbean if you want to do audio. And then if you want to do video, you're going to have to host it on YouTube or, again, Vimeo or whatever. But you've got to host it on both of those platforms. You can then decide to do Instagram Reels and pull clips from those podcasts and post them there, or YouTube Shorts, or even Facebook and do, instead of a 60-second clip, you could do a 5-minute clip of an hour-and-a-half long show. These are all things that you can pull from a podcast. A podcast is a great way to create that long form content that generates a lot of short form content. Now you're able to use a lot more content across all your social media platforms. It's a phenomenal way to create content. You can't just get on there and make it up as you go. You got to be somewhat prepared. You got to know what you're talking about. You got to have guests lined up if you're going to host guests, if you're going to interview people. If you're not, if you're just going to, talk amongst your fellow staffers, you've got to have the staff to do that. You've got to have people who know what they're talking about. And if they get sick, then you've got to have someone step in for you. If you're going to do it live and you're going to have multiple camera angles and all that, then you got to have somebody in the room who's capable of pushing the buttons to switch from cameras and make sure the mics are all, they all sound good and they've got good volume and quality and tone. And if you're not going to do that, then you have to have an editor who's capable of matching all that audio and making sure that it sounds equal and that it lines up with the lips on the video. These are all things that you have to consider. And then what from there? What from there? You've got the equipment, you're signed up, you're verified. What do? Now you go and you create content. You start talking. That's what a podcast is. It's a place to talk for people to listen. So you got to figure out what kind of content you want to create, and you need to be consistent. Consistency is key across all social media platforms, whether we're talking about Instagram videos or Facebook or YouTube or, just photos or text or blogs and even podcasts. Consistency is key. This is where most people fall off. Okay, they're willing to get started. Hey, I've got something to share. My business needs to be heard. But you've got to be consistent. Consistency is key. So that's it. You've decided, I'm doing it. I'm going to create a podcast. I know my format. I know where I'm going to host it. I'm signed up. I'm verified. I'm ready to go. I've got my content ready. I've got my creators ready with me. So what next? You do it. You film it. You're ready to go. That's it. So podcasting isn't that difficult. There's not a lot to it. Your equipment, your time, your content, your hosting platforms. You just got to decide whether or not you want to do it. Are you the type of person who has something to say and wants to say it in the format of a podcast? It's just another tool. Just like Instagram Reels, just like YouTube videos, just like Facebook posts. It's just another tool of the trade. Is it something that you want to do? Should you do it? Yeah, sure, maybe, if you are capable of doing it. If you are capable of attracting a crowd of people who want to hear what you have to say. If you can be organic and authentic and consistent. If you can be all those things and you can afford the equipment that goes along with it, the software and services that are needed to host this content, if you can afford the content creators and the editors, those who are going to help you, then absolutely do a podcast. Now, it doesn't have to be complicated. You could always just go to Facebook. Facebook video is free. Get a webcam, get a cheap microphone, and just talk for 30 minutes about whatever it is you want to talk about. That's one way to do it too. Maybe not quite as fun, but it is a way of doing it. So should you start a podcast? Well, that's up to you. I hope this content has helped you today. If you liked it, please drop us a like. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe and smash that notification bell so that you can be notified of all of our upcoming content. We want to be able to communicate with you on a regular basis. We post a video every Friday. We've got Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts going out every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. We want you to be notified every time that drops. If you have a comment, be sure to drop it down in the comments section. We want to interact with you. I want to answer your questions. And again, as always, if it's a question that really deserves a longer explanation, we would love the opportunity to turn it into a full-length video for your viewing and entertainment. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We'll catch you next time.
Oh, fire and water me, going down deep, sing, oh, bury me, carry me, far beneath. Down to the river.